Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Redmen TV and your latest edition of Expert Insight. My name is Dan Clubb. I will be your host as ever. I'm delighted to say I'm joined by Lincoln goalkeeper Lukas Jensen for this one. Lucas, how you doing, mate? You good?
I'm good, mate. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, our pleasure and privilege, mate. Massively appreciate you coming on. As I mentioned, goalkeeper. Now you're here to speak about somebody I think you know pretty well. We'll find out in more detail just how well you know him in a moment. But for context in and around this for the listeners and the viewers, obviously Arne Slot, Liverpool's new head coach, spoke for the first time last week. He gave his first interview to the club, and in that interview, he confirmed the appointment of Fabian Otte. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing his surname right. You'll probably be able to tell us better if that's anything like it. But interesting character, I think it's fair to say. You worked with him at Burnley. First and foremost, Lucas, just tell us about your first experience. In fact, tell me if I pronounced his surname right first, and then tell us about your first experiences and your first encounters with him, really.
Well, first of all, so I would pronounce it Fabian Otte, so I think it's very similar to the way you said it.
Okay,
So
not
it's
bad.
that's close enough. But Fabian, oh what a guy. He's very unique. He's got his own goalkeeping style. First of all, he's an amazing person. I should probably start by saying that. So I think everyone that will be with him or around him will love his company. But like he can take anyone to a different level as a goalkeeper, and myself, I experienced that by working with him. So I think you'll enjoy having him around the club, and hopefully you can learn something from
Yeah,
him.
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's coming in to replace John Achterberg, who's at the club for 15 years. You know, a real sort of stalwart, set in stone character around the AXA. He's going to be joined up with likes of Claudio Taffarel. I mean, as goalkeepers go, it doesn't really get much more of esteem than him. So I'm sure he's relishing that opportunity. But just on his style, you mentioned there how he is quite unique. Now, I've spent the past couple of days sort of looking at different articles, and I want to come on to one in a moment that you feature quite heavily in. But before I do, he was brought in by Billy Mercer at Burnley. Is it fair to say that there's sort of an old school goalkeeper coach and a new school goalkeeper coach, and Fabian fits very much into the latter?
Oh, definitely. So they're basically into two categories. Then once, as you said, you got the old school, and then you got kind of like the modern way of doing goalkeeping. So his style is very German-ish. Obviously, he's from Germany, so he brings that style into to England. So he's an expert in 1v1s, saving close shots. But obviously, you've got one of the best goalkeepers in the world when it comes to 1v1s anyway. But I think he can take all the youth and all that to a new level. But I remember a funny situation with him when he came into Burnley. When I worked with him, he was trying to bring all these, funny new things that he was doing in Germany. But because obviously we had Billy Mercer at that time, who was the old school, he was like kind of trying to do to the young goalkeepers and not to the first team goalkeepers. But I think he will do that in Liverpool anyway. All the what can you say, like bringing like triangle balls, small balls, tennis balls, all that kind of stuff. Just like a modern touch, so you can work with glasses on, like with headphones, so you can't hear anything. All that type of stuff you will bring in. So it's a fun way of doing it, but that's what makes him unique, and will take you to a new level.
Yeah, it's fascinating that. And I think Arne Slot, I don't think he's afraid of trying new things. And he's quite innovative in the way he works, and he likes new methods and new techniques. So, and that's obviously the reason he's appointed him first and foremost. But I think he'll be open to those new ideas, even on the likes of Alison Becker and Kelleher, as well as the youngsters who I know Otto work quite closely with at Burnley. And I want to touch on the article I mentioned a moment ago. It was an interview in The Athletic. You may recall this in 2020. And Fabian himself said he doesn't want to be this crazy professor. He doesn't want the perception that all he does is science in and around all of his training. I mean, I guess because he was a goalkeeper himself, of course, as well. Not to the Premier League standard, and that's no disrespect to the teams he plays for, but he wasn't. I guess he has a little bit of both in that case. You can bring all these different methods and techniques, but also fundamentally, he just wants to improve goalkeepers.
Well, he will. I remember he was doing his uni work on the side while he was coaching us. So I always see him posting all these articles about, okay, this new science is, okay, where's all the shots coming from? Is it coming below the knees, above the knees, around hip area? So like you can get all the science behind it. So you get the best statistics to actually saving the balls or where you should improve. as a goalkeeper. So like where the strikers are most likely to shoot. So basically, you can practice that and get even better in that sense. So that's what he made me aware about. That it's not just about saving the balls, but it's about like, okay, how can you prepare for it in the best way? And I don't think that many goalkeepers realize how important that is to have the background from it and then work on it and then obviously bring it to the game. So that's what he will help a lot with.
Yeah, absolutely. It's those fine margins, isn't it? I guess at any level, not just Premier League
Yeah.
level, and that helps you with sort of increasing output and performance. So yeah, that's a no-brainer to me. An interesting part of the article that I mentioned is the fact that it's spoken that you didn't start training until sort of 11, but being well before that with Fabian, and it concentrates on sort of watching and analysing games that have gone before. And one of the games highlighted, you can tell me if you don't remember this at all, but was Liverpool against Ajax, and it spoke about Andre Onana and watching him closely and Kevin Kelleher. Now, obviously, the Kelleher situation is really fascinating now because he's going to be working with him. But is that something you did a lot? Was it analysing different goalkeepers from across Europe, across the world? Was that a big part of your development and your work with him?
Oh, it was like so. He always trying to do analysis after training. So basically, he will put up a camera so you can always film the training. And I think loads of goalkeeping coaches are doing that. But he's going into details with everything. So if you don't see him on the pitch, like trying to like coach goalkeepers, he'll be on his computer trying to look through goalkeepers. How can I kind of implement that to my goalkeeping style or bring that to my goalkeepers? So he will always be working and he was always trying to get better at his job. But like, so how can he improve the goalkeepers he's working with? He's brilliant at it. Like, I don't think you can get a better goalkeeping coach than him in terms of like emphasis and how much he want to work with you. So he's a brilliant guy.
Exciting, very exciting. He said right there he's a brilliant guy. Now, I don't want to embarrass you, but he spoke very highly of you in this interview. He said you could write a book about Lukas. He's so interesting. I think the world of him. Don't get embarrassed. Physically, he's unbelievable. 6'6", good at jumping, etc., etc., etc. The list goes on. The reason I'm saying all of this is because I wanted to ask you, sort of beyond the training ground and beyond the work that you did in getting better at goalkeeping, he seems like and he feels like he was interested in you as a person, not just a player. Is that right? Did you have that close bond? Did it go beyond the fact that he just wanted to see you get better? Was there that sort of friendship there as well?
Oh, it was like so. I think normally you say don't get too close to your coaches because then you'll get a different relationship. But it was quite hard not to do that with him because he obviously he isn't the oldest goalie coach yet. He's only in early 30s. So, but like he will he will how can I say it? He will help you so much off the pitch, like that you become friends in a certain way you didn't expect, and that's what happened to me as well, because we were obviously what 10 years apart ish, but like he was just such a good guy. So like you'll immediately become friends with him. He will invite you over to food as well. If you're struggling, so you can actually sit down, have a good chat with him if you're struggling. And I feel like in modern day football, that's quite rare to come about. So he will definitely do that with you. And I don't think to us older goalkeepers, you need that. But like if you're a little bit younger, struggling a little bit, he'll help you in that sense.